I think we can start. Um, so thank you everyone for joining for a quick demo call. And brief introduction about me. I'm Akhilesh Negi. I'm a software developer at ColorPower. And for past 2 years, I've been working in Clippic in the backend mainly. So just to set the context for the call, for past few weeks, we've been working on the profiling stuff in Clippic. So that the NGOs whose beneficiary mainly are students or where there is an environment that are same phone is used by multiple users, so they can incorporate that. Like in case of an NGO who are working in the education sector, so they reach out to families where a same phone is shared by multiple students. So to, to be able to do that, we worked on a feature like the creating profile, where each student can create a different profile and can also switch between the profile when they are interacting with the chatbot. So let me just present my screen and let me know once it's up. Is it up?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is just a sample flow that how we have created, and any NG can just use this flow or modify it as per their needs. So I'll just quickly start the flow. So I just took the example of tab, that how they interact and how they send the first message.
Please, if you can zoom in a bit.
Yeah. So as soon as I started the flow, it says, "Hi, my name is Tab Buddy," and here we can given three options to user. So first one is basically they can create a new profile. Second, switch to an existing profile if there are multiple, and third, just start the activity. So I took an example where every day we start an activity, and before you get started with the activity, you check that if the right profile is set or not. So first I'll just create a new user, and I'll create a user with my name. And for here, I just choose age less than 10 years, role as student, and school name as KB. So it will ask you to confirm the details, and I'll press one, and a new profile is created. We just create another profile, and I take example of Shima. I put the age as 19 or above, role as teacher, and school is K. I just confirm the details, and another profile is created. So far two profiles are created. And what we also do here is whenever a new profile is created, the default profile is switched to the newly created profile. So if I just start an activity now, like a daily activity, so since the second profile, which was named by Shamu, that was created the latest, so it is set to that profile. So whenever I start an activity, daily activity, it gives me the option that this is the current profile, and do you want to continue with it? If not, I'll just press one to switch the user, and it will display the list of profiles that are created for a contact. So I just need to pick the one, like I'll pick the first one, and it is switched back to that profile. Then I can start the daily activity, and it again says that, okay, this profile is set, kindly confirm the details. I can see that the profile is switched now and I want to continue, then I'll just continue and press 2. Then any other flow will start. Okay, and now I'll just walk you through the flow that we have created. So first is we're just sending a message that where we provide the three options like create new user, switch to an existing one, or start activity. Based on user response, we redirect them to a different place. Like if they say the create new user. So for creating a new user, I created a subflow, which is basically a profile registration flow. So if I walk you through the flow, it's similar to any registration flow where you ask for name, ask for their age, what role they have, like student or teacher, what school they are from, and then ask them to confirm details. Once they confirm the details, here is the new node that is created, and which is basically to manage profile. So if you click on this, the type you chose was manage profile, and here is a subcategory. which is either we can create a profile or switch to an existing one. So if I just choose the create profile, we ask for username and user role. So these are the two details that we require to create any new profile, with the role being the optional. Because I just took an example of NGO who is targeting the education sector. So roles mainly can be either a student or a teacher. So you just ask for these two details and you create a profile. So it can be a issue that a profile is not created. Like suppose there are multiple names or they have entered wrong details. So based on that, it can be success or failure. Once the success means the profile is created. And what you basically do is you update the details, like update name, update role, update the school name, and update the category, which you have asked earlier in the flow. So I'll just stop here and I'll let you guys ask the question that if you have any question that how create profile will work, or if you have any other question.
Yeah, Akhilesh, I have a few questions mainly from an operational perspective. Right now, let's say I have started the conversation on one profile. Let's say there are 2 or 3 profiles linked to the number. And when I started the conversation linked to that number, at one point, I just let it hang. I don't close the conversation. And then someone else picks up the mobile and starts going through the activities. Will it the way I looked at it, it will continue with the earlier profile, right? Is there a kind of time limit which we can set that after this time limit, you basically hang off and go back to an original profile?
Yes, indeed. So we can customize that based on the flows we have designed, that there is also wait for response. My screen is still up.
Yeah.
So here is also an option for wait for response, where we can continue after, like, if after 6 hours they have not responded, I'll click on OK and I'll send them, redirect them to the main flow where we ask the profile, or we can customize the flow as per our need. Or
But this we will need to do in every flow,
Yeah.
right? Every flow that we create, we will need to put this condition, right?
Yeah.
Which basically, if for in any flow wait for response is more than 20 minutes, let's say, then exit the conversation and go back to the first screen.
Yes, indeed. So we can configure that. It also depends on how an NGO use it. Like suppose we send a daily activity and we send them at 8 a.m. So every day what we can do is we can configure flow that every day it will start, and before it will start an activity, it will always ask which profile you want to continue with. So it basically depends on how NGO want to use it and how they configure their flows.
And that's one question. The second question is, let's say, can I now then create collections by profile?
Yes, indeed. So for now, we have not yet created this functionality where we can define like contact means a based collection based on profile. So right now we can only create one profile and move them to a different collection. Means
the way I'm saying it is, let's take I have 3 profiles on a number, right? 2 students, one in grade 9, one in grade 10, and a parent. So there are 3 profiles on a number, and I want them to get dropped into 3 different collections, so that when we send the messages, we can target those specific collections.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So currently it is still in contact level, the collection. So whatever collection we moved in, so it will be on contact level only. So even if the contact has 3 profiles, only the collection contact will be moved to a collection. So we haven't yet created that functionality where we can define the profile level categorization on the collection membership.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one more, but then I will stop.
No.
How will it reflect in BigQuery for analytics purposes?
Yeah. So Okay, my screen. So we had by default like 4 or 5 tables, like contacts, messages, flows, and all those stuff there. So we have introduced a new table called profile, where it will have all the profile data, and it is similar to the contact table, where it will have all the information of the contact fields there. And apart from that, it will have name and phone number. So we can now link different profiles and update how we were taking the stats, like based on the profiles. So same phone number can have multiple profile. So we can now count them as a different users. So we have.
So I can, from let's say from the BigQuery, I can get let's say a view of how many flows or which flows a particular profile has accessed, not a particular number has accessed.
Okay. That thing is not yet done. Like how many profiles traverse through a flow. It's just that the overall count and the information of the profile is
Okay.
synced there.
No, fair enough.
Now,
Fair enough.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But we can definitely incorporate that.
Yeah, because that's the real power, right? Because
Yeah.
then I know that my grade 9 student access these flows, my grade 10 students access these flows, and my parent access these flows.
Yeah, right. So I'll note that down and we'll do that in future. Thanks.
I just have one last question, sorry.
Yeah.
So if you're assigning a role to one of the profiles, right? So I'm assuming we also have control over what that profile can access once they register under that profile. Okay.
Yeah, so you can do the like split by contact field or split by profile, that okay, this is profile has this role and which flows it can traverse into. So you can customize flow based on their contact field information.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Akhilesh, I have a question. I joined late, so in case you answered it, just let me know. In terms of a profile, is there a maximum number of profiles that a user can have? Is there a limitation on that?
No, Priyanka, not yet. So we have not set a limit. So it's still in testing phase. So we thought that let's just continue without putting any limit to a number of profile. So any number can have any number of profiles.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I also joined late, so I'm sorry if this was already covered earlier. And this profile is essentially assigned or is selected when the user registers themselves on the platform, or is it something that is controlled from the back end by maybe a group of admins, that these people will be given this particular role or profile, and these people will be given this profile?
Yeah, Kalindi. So let me just give you a demo again. And sorry for others who joined early. It will take a bit more time.
Really sorry.
But yeah. So this was the flow that I demonstrated earlier, where at the start of each flow, you send them a message like, what do you want to do? Like create new user, switch to an existing profile, or start the daily activity. So what I did so far was I created 2 new profiles, one with my name Akhilesh and one with Samu. And for a quick demo, what I can do is I can create a third profile right now. And I'll just put my Siddhant.
No, that's okay.
So I choose the role teacher and so I'll just confirm the details. And so 3 profiles are created. So now when I choose to start an activity, it will say that, okay, the last profile you created is now the active profile. Do you want to continue with this user or do you want to switch? If you want to switch, you'll just press 1 and it will list down all the profiles. So these 2 profiles I just created earlier in the call, the first and second, and third one I just created. So you can customize these all things through the flow only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, Akhilesh.
Yeah, any other question?
Akhilesh, just wanted to explore Sandeep's question number 2, where he said that if we can, add contacts in different collection as per their role.
Mhm.
So for a use case, like if like I have one contact but three different roles, and all they have been added to three different collections, and if I want to send a message to these three collections, so will it be something like one number will have will receive three different messages as per their role, or is it something like from the while sending the message we can check if the role is the active role is this, only send this message, like did you get my
Yeah,
question?
yeah, I got it. So basically, all the profile stuff thing is on a phone number. Like a single phone number will have two or three profiles, but the message
Yes,
that we send through WhatsApp, it's on the phone number. It's
is the
not
phone
based on
number.
the profile.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you want to restrict that, you can customize the flow that, okay, just check in the contact fields that if the current role is teacher or not set. So what it will do is it will go through all the contacts. It will check, okay, this contact has this active profile set. And if the contact field information is like the role is teacher, then only send the message. But if you don't put that restriction and you just fire for a flow for a collection, so the profile have the same phone number
Yes, yes,
and they will
yeah,
get
yeah.
three messages.
Three messages. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So you need to
Thanks.
customize the flow as per your need.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other question? All right. So
Akhilesh,
yeah,
sorry,
Shweta.
Shweta here. I had one
Yeah.
question.
Mhm.
How would it look for our existing contacts? Because we do have some contacts who are sharing one number, and in our case, it is like they are sharing it for different courses. So,
Mhm.
will we be able to create their profiles somehow?
Yeah. So means you need to create a flow where you walk them through the profiling and you register profile one by one. So if there is no profile set, so all the information of the contact fields that you ask in the flow is set for a contact only. And if you have two profile, then it switches between the profile. That if you have first active profile, it will have some different fields. And if you have second profile, it will have some different field information like name, school name, etc. So whenever you will switch to a profile, that profile's active field will be selected. So at a point of time, whichever profile is set, you will have only those profile details. And if no profile is set, all the information that was earlier said, it will be for that contact only. Feel free to ask question. I think I made that a bit complicated.
I understood. Basically, we'll have to
Yeah.
maybe re-register them. That's
Mhm.
the way right now.
Yeah. And all the previous details will be saved there only. So you can check in the contact profile that these were all the details that were earlier shared. But whenever you will make a switch to a different profile, so only the information that was registered when that profile was set will be there, and all the previous information will be switched.
And Shweta, we can talk to you and Krishna during the sprint and see if we can do a custom migration for y'all, since you'll already have pseudo data for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So we can potentially discuss that.
Thanks.
And what you means, how will the user know, etc. Because it might be a bit confusing to them also. But yeah, you can put on the agenda of the stuff that you want that you'll want to talk about.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Akhilesh.
So, Akhilesh, if I understand right, the active profile means the profile that last accessed or is currently accessing the flow, right?
Yes.
So, is there a way to also like sort of either reset or manually set something to be a default profile? Especially if I say a launch. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So by default, if no profile is set, so you will have all the details that you have collected in the from the flow. You will have that access. And when you create a profile, then you can switch it between them. But by default, you will have all the information that you have to gather from the flow. If that answered that your question.
Yeah. Or no, what I meant is at the back end, can you manually set one profile to be the active profile?
Okay. Okay, we can do that also. That all the details that were earlier captured by the flow, that all saved to one default profile, and we can means we need to do that customization, but we can do that. By default, we don't do for organization because this is still the new thing. But if you need it for your organization, we can do that.
Yeah, I think the Akhilesh, the case is that a parent and a student uses the mobile number, and most of the time it's going to be the student. So let's take, we make the student profile as the default. Only if I am a parent, I will switch it.
Okay. Okay, so for that, the current scenario means before the profile where all the data was stored on a contact level, right? So what we need to do is first just decimate that information into two parts, that this was all the student data and this was all the parent data. So there will be two profiles by just dividing the current data into two parts. And what we can do is then the student profile, we set that as a default. Because right now all the information is on the contact level. Venkat, does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions?
Akhilesh, from the flow as well, we can update their role, right? Like we can update the role, the variable of the role to like student or something like that. We can do that,
So,
right? From the
yeah.
back. Yeah.
So we'll just need like the name of the profile, and the role is optional. So we basically need a name for each profile, and then we can ask the user that if they want to switch the profile or not. Rest of the things are just contact field information which we already capture. So all this stuff will be same as the flows that were previously created. Like you update the contact field, you ask okay what value you want to update, and you just run them through the flow.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay. So I was just walking through the registration flow where you create a profile. So the flow will be the same where you ask for all the details, and in wait for response, you store the information. Like you ask the school name, you save that as a school. And at the last, once you get all the details, you can just ask them that press 1 to confirm or second 2 to re-enter. And once you do that, you'll just need to point them to this node where you manage profile, and you just choose option create profile. And here you can just use the name which is stored in the result, and here role, with role being the option. So what you can do then is if the profile is created, it will go to this success path, else it will go to the failure part. And once the profile is successfully created, you can just update the contact level information, like update contact fields, update name, role, school, and all that. So this was just the registration flow. Now switching profile. So if I go back to the main flow, which I created, where we give basically three options, like you can create a new user, switch to an existing one, or start the daily activity. So I just walk you through the first one where you create a new user. Second was like how you can switch to an existing profile. So if you press 2, it will move you down here, like choose from the list of users or profiles you have created. And you can do is you can use this variable like at the rate contact dot list profiles. So this is a variable that you can use. It will list all the profiles based on their number. So if I just walk you through the flow. That it gives you option, and I choose like switching the profile. So this at the rate contact or list profile is replaced by the number of profiles you have. And then you can just ask that to press 1, 2, or 3, their profile index. And if I press 2, the profile will be switched. And it says the user has been switched to Shamun. And it's at the rate contact.fields.name. So here the node is like the manage profile, and you choose the second option, like the switch profile. And here you use the profile index. The profile index is the input which is we capture from the user, and it is saved as the result profile index. So here we'll just pass its value and the profile will be switched. So if the profile will be switched, it will send this message that user has been switched to the at the rate contact.fields.name, which will be the name of the profile basically. And if it fails, it will send that, okay, failed to switch the user, please try again. So if I walk you through that node, and somehow they didn't understand. They send message, I didn't understand. So in this case, what it will do, it will go to the failure and it will send fail to switch the invalid. Okay, here it will send to other node invalid response, and it will send please try again. And this message can be customized by an organization, what they want to do when user does not send a valid input. And in future, what we are thinking is we can create those profiles as the buttons or a list of interactive messages where they can just choose from a list. But for the initial cut, we just give them an option to press 1, 2, or 3 based on the profile number. So I'll just stop here and I'll let you ask a question if you have any.
Akhilesh, I have one question around the list names that come. Right now it comes only the names. Is it possible to get name plus another identifier? For example, in our case, can I get Akhilesh grade 9? Given that maybe one value may not always necessarily be the unique identifier amongst profiles. So is there a way to pick two identifiers that we pick in registration and display that?
Yep, Priyanka. So right now we have only configured this one where you just send the name, because all the other details are just optional, like the whatever role you will ask, or if you ask the school or a grade. So those all things are just optional. So for now, we just send the name of the profile, which is the required field. But surely we can customize that based on the organization use case.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, any other question? Okay. Yes. So this is basically the flow. And if I just start this and I go to the third option now, that is start a new activity or a daily activity. So it will always ask that, okay, this is the current profile that has been set. Do you want to continue or do you want to switch? And this is basically a node there, which any organization just customize as per their organization messages. And it's a simple node of send message where you send the contact field information to distinguish the different profiles. And these are all the fields that I've asked during the registration. So I just use those and I asked that, do you want to switch or not? If I want to switch, it will send me redirect me to the option where a list is provided and I can choose. Like I'll just this profile and I'll then again start an activity. It will tell me that, okay, this is the new details or this is the profile that is currently set. Do you want to switch or do you want to continue? If I switch again to this and the user is again switched, and now it will show me the new details, and then I can just continue, and it can be the any activity. So I just link the flow, subflow, and I can redirect them to any other flow. So yeah, that's mainly it. Do you have any question? Stop sharing. Yeah, so that's mainly it, what I want to give a demo about how the profiling works, and it's mainly in testing right now. And I've noted down the question that I asked, and we can surely make a progress on that. That how we can incorporate like the grade or any other thing that we want to do when we ask them to switch a profile, or how we can do a custom migration for all the existing contacts. So apart from that, if anyone has any thoughts, comments, or suggestion how we can improve this, that would be helpful. Okay then. So that's it from my end. And like if you are notifying that if we made some new feature, or is there anything to present, or if there are any new progress we have made in profile. So keep in touch, and you can always reach out in Discord channel.